Here's the deal. If you were anything like I was spending so much money doing low level tasks. And I'm going to teach you today how you can stop doing that and still get results. Here I am drinking my coffee with my nerdy glasses on because we're going to get into some juicy stuff today that I really think is going to help you. One of the biggest realizations that I had that has really changed my life is that I really understood to my core and in my mindset that time is my only resource I cannot get back. Time is the most precious resource we have. And the thing is time is money, right? So I had to start realizing how I need to be better at honoring my hours, which means that there's always going to be more things to do than there will be time to do it. And understand what drives my business, understand what really brings me joy and fulfillment in my life. And I really put work into what it was I needed to do with my time and communicated what that was in the different contexts and categories of the things that I needed to do. The first thing that I did is I actually calculated how much money I make per hour. Now, that's going to change depending on where you are in your journey. And as you make more money and as you start being more productive with your time, you're going to make more money in the amount of time that you're giving the task that you're doing. But have you ever actually sat down and calculated how much money you make per hour? This to me was mind-blowing. I sat down and I said all these hours that I'm working and how much I'm making, and I just divided the figure and figured out what my hourly rate was. And when I saw the hourly rate, two things will happen when you do this. You will either see that you're not making as much money because you're working way too many hours. And honestly, you're probably wasting a lot of your working hours on things that don't move the needle. And so if the figure is low, how do we figure out how to work less and still make that amount of money or more so we can increase our hourly rate? Or if your hourly rate's really high, then let me tell you, you're going to be like, I should not be doing this task. This is a lower level paying task or job. And I would really rather pay somebody this hourly amount to do this. And then I can focus on making more money that is aligned with the hourly rate that I am actually at right now. So sitting down and calculating what each hour of your day is worth is really going to help you filter out the things that you should and shouldn't be doing in your day. The best way to figure out what you are doing during your day and what you are doing during the hours of work or in your life is to spend some time. I know this sounds ironic, but spend a little bit of time doing something I call a time audit. So when is the last time you really took a second and kind of took inventory of the hours you're working in a week and what you're actually doing? What are you spending your time on during this time? What is your time inventory and what are you doing in that inventory of time? So what you're going to do is when you're starting to write your to-do list for tomorrow, for example, you're going to sit down and you're going to see, do the things that I am doing really relate to what drives the business? And if so, what is the context of the things that I'm doing? Is it marketing? Is it sales? Is it administrative stuff? Is it customer service things? Is it HR and hiring? Is it business planning and strategizing? Also ask yourself, do I need to do this? Is this something that I only can do? Is this my zone of genius? This is what I like to do. This is what I'm choosing to do. Or is this truly something that you could maybe outsource? And we're going to talk about that in a second. And does it actually have to get done right now? Because what happens is sometimes we have projects and lofty goals and things, and it's a lot easier to do the bullshit, mundane tasks that are kind of mindless, that don't use as much of our mind and brain capacity. And we start doing stuff that is making us procrastinate on the things we should actually be doing. So does the thing that you're doing need to be done by you? And does it actually need to be done right now? And if so, is it the needle moving thing? Or is this thing mandatory for some reason? Like you have a deadline or you need to get it done by a certain time, or it's something in this season right now that is really like mandatory for you to do. So if it doesn't need to get done right now, and if it's not something that's mandatory and it is something that you don't actually have to do, this is where you can start figuring out when you do a time audit and take inventory of your time, how you can start shifting and moving some things so that your price per hour increases and or that you are really honoring the amount of money you're making per hour. So if you answer no to any of these questions, consider removing the task altogether and not doing it. And if it's a medium value task and you can do it more efficiently without losing some of that value, then just do it in a more efficient way once instead of coming back to it or leaving it on your to-do list. And the momentum that you will create by doing that is going to continue to give you more time freedom and more space to do the things that really matter. Now, before we move on to the next thing, if you want to learn about how to still be a high achiever, but make more money and have more time, then make sure to check out the link in the description box below, because I have an amazing offer for you called Winning Your Week. This is where we are going to deep dive together on how to structure your week to make sure that those weeks are compounding, to set yourself up to really do less and make more. If you are sick of having to wake up at 6 a.m. or stay awake until 12 p.m. midnight to get the things done on your checklist, or you just feel like you're doing so much and you just don't have the results that you want, then this is for you. Once I realized that the high achieving people in the world were able to achieve things that I wanted, and we both had the same 24 hours in a day, I knew that I was probably doing something wrong. And if I could change that and fix it, it would change my life. So I'm going to be teaching you my system for winning my week, week after week, and I can't wait to see you in the program. So please click the link in the description box below, and I hope to see you there. Now that we've got that out of the way, let's get back to what the things are that stopped me from wasting time and money on low-level tasks. So before I talked about how if these are a no to any of these questions, what can we do to outsource? So we're going to talk about thinking about what you can delegate, what can maybe be deleted and you really don't need to be doing anymore, or really thinking to yourself, okay, I'm going to delete it for now, but I'm going to put it on a someday list so that I know that I want to get these things done, but they're just not urgent right now. They're not mandatory right now. And technically, they don't need to be done by me. Or I will take these things that I need to get done and I will turn them into a routine, and I will turn them into ways that I can batch the things that I'm doing instead of constantly multitasking. Right? Because if we make a list of the things that we need to do on a day-to-day basis, we want to kind of task prioritize. And that means identifying the tasks that are going to contribute the most to our business goals and prioritize those high impact tasks to low impact tasks and try to batch them in the context of the things that we're doing. So for example, if something that you do is social media management and social media content creation, you shouldn't be creating a piece of content on a Monday morning and then switching to a Zoom call and then switching to doing some kind of training to switching to making a sales call to switching to filing some paperwork to going back to creating another piece of content, right? You don't want to be constantly multitasking, because honestly, multitasking doesn't work. And even though if you're a woman and you're watching this, we like to sit on our high horse and say we are really good at multitasking compared to men, which really is technically true. However, nobody's really good at multitasking. We want to be able to batch the things that we're doing in the context and category that we're doing them, so we can knock out all our social media content creation and management in one sitting and then consciously move into another task in another category, so we can really do deep work as opposed to constantly doing surface level work that really isn't going to be that good of quality. And again, if it's not quality and we're not doing right, we're not moving the needle. Decide on the things that need to go on your to-do list as well. What are the things that need to be deleted? What are the things that we can sort of get rid of and be a not to-do list? So for me, one of my not to-do list things for 2024 is not go into my email more than once a day. Yes, I said it. I know I'm crazy, but I made a system that I really only need to check my email once a day. I sit down, do all my emails in one sitting. Now, if I send an email and I know I'm going to be getting a reply soon and it is something that's urgent, I will go back and check it. But for most days, I really only check my email once a day. And as you are creating this list of things that you need to be doing on a day-to-day basis, and we're figuring out what to delete on our not to-do list, then think about what things can be automated. Can you automate repetitive and time-consuming tasks using different tools and software like Zapier, or we have a lot of communication that we send to clients via email and text message that has all been automated? What things can you do to automate the process? What workflows do you have that you can use automation with different platforms to streamline that process? And hopefully you don't even have to do it. It just becomes automatic. This also applies to your life. For example, something that I did to automate is in Amazon, I have an essentials list. And in that essentials list of things that I constantly am ordering over and over again, I have all the essentials that I know I need in my home to be constantly stocked on a subscription model. Not only does that save you money, but they just show up at your door when you need them. And it's very easy to manage those things. So I'm constantly having all the essentials in my home always stocked, and I don't have to think about doing that. Just a quick little example, right? And then after you do some things to automate, there's still going to be things left that need to get done by a human or by somebody. And now we can start thinking about what are the things on here that we can delegate to somebody else. And as you are doing your hourly rate calculation and realized, okay, this is totally a $10 an hour task. Why am I doing it when I'm making $25 an hour? I could be paying somebody $10 an hour and still be making $15 an hour, and they could be doing this low level task that I don't need to be doing. What can you delegate, right? So I want you to look at that list when you do your time audit and you're taking inventory of the things that you're working on. What are the things that you really should be delegating to somebody else that can be handled by someone else? And I know sometimes you think that nobody else can do it like you can, but I am telling you right now, if you are multitasking and you're moving from one thing to the other, and you're not able to focus on each thing that you're doing, somebody else is going to do it so much better than you when that's what they need to focus on. And so really working on building a strong team and distribute responsibilities effectively is going to be the biggest game changer. There is no way I could do all the things that I need to do in 24 hours without having help and without building a team. Now, this doesn't mean you have to hire a full-time large team. It might, but for the most part, you can really start by getting a part-time VA or getting somebody who does freelance work that you can send your social media to, for example, right? So that also we're delegating by outsourcing, or we can delegate by hiring and getting people kind of on payroll or in a regular position within your team. By the way, if you're enjoying these tips that I've shared with you so far and want more videos like this, please make sure you hit the like button below. It really helps me know what content to continue to create for you. Now, the next thing, once you've done this work, is starting to create systems. We know all the things that we do in a day. We've automated, we've delegated, we've decided what we're not doing. We know what our price per hour is for us. And now we need to create systems. You're going to want to create trainings and or checklists or workflows, or really just the step process that you need to take in those tasks and create an entire system. And this is really what we do in Winning Your Week, where we create a system for your life and your business so that you can win each week over and over again, which compounds to you being able to win your year, right? Every single week that we do well is going to get you where you want to go. And so the work that it's going to take to implement these, it's going to help you to allow yourself to work on the money-making activities and align with the worth of your time and increase your time and financial freedom from your business. So make sure that once you start working on figuring out what needs to be done in the process of each task, that you are then doing really good and effective communication with your team. If you can improve the communication within the team and minimize misunderstandings and errors and having them constantly having to ask you questions and texting you and DMing you and calling you and yelling across the room if you're in an office with somebody. I know a lot of you know what I'm talking about, right? Once you have these systems in place, you can really redirect them to go to your system and see the trainings and see the workflows and see the things that need to get done. Now, if you don't have a team, this is also great for you because honestly, right now you're using some kind of system, but it's not working for you. So for example, what I did is I created different routines in my life. And within each routine, I time block when I'm going to do that routine. I have a list of the things that need to happen in that routine. And so when I show up to that time on my calendar, I just follow the steps. I literally follow my own instructions. And it helps me do two things. One, show up and just start moving and taking action and execute really quickly without having to think about what I need to do in this routine when I show up to do it. And two, as you start doing these routines, they become automatic for you. You memorize what they are. They become habits that you just show up and do. And so same thing you're going to want to do by creating this system to help your team be able to do the same thing. So once I realized which routines I need to do that are going to be the biggest shift in my business or in my life, I got proactive on time blocking them. So I used time blocking techniques to really allocate specific times and slots for the different contexts and categories of tasks. So again, I'm batching, I'm going in, doing the deep work in that routine, and then I'm moving on to the next thing. This really helps avoiding multitasking and concentrating on one task at a time. Trust me, moving from one task to the other and trying to multitask is a guaranteed way for you to get burnt out, overwhelmed, and exhausted. Honestly, it's kind of like trying to fill a leaky bucket, continuously trying to put work and energy into a bucket, and it's just leaking because it's not going to be that deep work. It's not going to have that solid container to make sure that deep work is effective. This is where we maximize the energy that we have to put into the things that are important and that are needle movers first. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to spend some time on figuring out and calculating your hourly rate and do a time audit. Literally pull out a piece of paper and just write down what are the things that you're doing within the hours of your day. And it's going to take you maybe a week of doing this to really be able to have your time inventory, but start paying attention to what you're doing and be honest with yourself. This is for you. If you are fluffing the information, it's not going to be helpful for you. So if you're going to take the time to do this, make sure you're honest with yourself. How long did it take you to scroll social media instead of doing the thing you're doing? How long is it taking you to find this document that you keep having to find over and over again? How much time are you wasting on this stuff? But also, how much time did you actually dedicate to the deep work you need to do or to the needle moving things that make you money in your business? And then implementing a combination of these strategies is really going to help you maximize the time you spend on low level tasks, being able to identify what those are, to see what you need to do next to either delete, automate, or delegate. And if you can't delete, automate, or delegate, or if you're going to, what are the routines? What are the processes? What is the system that can contribute more significantly to your business's success? So let us know in the comments which of these things you are going to implement today. Now, you might be thinking, I don't have any more time for anything. And I totally understand how you feel. It is a mindset thing, but you do have the time. We just need to prioritize a little better. So your next step would really be to watch this video next on how to plan your week and use your calendar. This is where we're going to teach you how to take the time that you have and your time inventory and to maximize it. And again, we'd love to see you in winning your week. I think it's the perfect time at the turn of the new year, at the beginning of the year, to really make sure that you are doing everything you can with the time that you have to increase the success that you want in your life. Thank you for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one.